Even though the minivan market is fading, there's still a need for a three-row ride. On this edition of Test Drive, the Ford Explorer. The Ford Explorer started life as a rough and ready body-on-frame Ranger-based rig with some off-road potential. Today, the fifth generation is based on a unitized body. That means it's more of a soft roader that keys on comfort rather than being able to tackle anything more challenging than a gnarly cottage access road. It is, as I was informed, a mall assault vehicle. While the first two rows of this Ford Explorer live up to expectation, when you get to the third row, it's like many in the segment, and that's tight and really only for kids. When it comes to cargo, no problem. Third row up, 595 litres, and if you fold everything flat, that number grows to 2,314 litres, which is enormous. The Tester arrived with Ford's 2.3-litre EcoBoost four-cylinder engine. It makes 280 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. This engine is teamed with a 6-speed automatic transmission with a sport mode. The latter brings a far more willing work ethic. Drive tends to upshift early to improve economy, which tends to blunt the acceleration unless you're well into the gas. In sport, the Explorer delivers decent performance, running to 100k in 8.6 seconds. While the turbocharged Ford delivers decent performance and a run to 100k of 8.6 seconds, as the number of passengers all the way to the cargo goes up, the edge comes off the performance noticeably. That's where the 3.5-litre EcoBoost V6 comes into its own. It also happens to cut the run to 100k to 6.4 seconds. The Explorer Limited arrives with all-wheel drive. It's smart and does a good job of quelling unwanted wheel spin. For example, under hard acceleration, it automatically splits the power evenly front to rear. It also arrives with Ford's terrain management system. It offers a number of different modes, each of which is aimed at getting the best out of the available grip when you're off-road. The reality is, it's more about making the driving experience better when you're on-road. When you step into the Explorer, at the bottom end, well, it leaves a bit to be desired. However, when you get up to the Limited, you start getting some pretty good stuff. Leather seats that are heated and cooled, a nifty infotainment system that works very nicely, and this thing actually has the ability to park all by itself. There is, however, a pretty big nit to pick. These A-pillars are enormous, and they certainly don't do very much for visibility. The Explorer arrives with a comfortable suspension that soaks up rough roads, which makes it a comfortable long-distance cruiser. When it comes to handling, well, no surprise, it drives as expected. The body likes to roll when pushed into a fast corner. It's not ponderous, but it gets pretty close at times. The one thing that does help is curve control. It backs out of the throttle and applies the brakes to maintain control if a corner is entered when carrying too much speed. Ford says it can actually scrub off up to 16k in 1 second if it's needed. This Ford Explorer's got a lot going for it, not the least of which is the range of models. Now, the base unit is very basic, but it's affordable. If you go to the other end, well, you're into Lincoln territory. Between the two is where you'll find a good alternative for a minivan.